So I'd like to just go ahead and give you a bit of a guided tour, a bit of a walkthrough of what FireMods can do, as it were, and just show you some of those features in action now. Kim, how are we doing for time, just out of interest?
You've got 28 minutes left, Chris.
Oh,
But
perfect.
before we go into the demo, Richard had a question about LearnDash.
Hmm.
Do you set it up for the customer to host? And do you offer an ongoing admin service to maintain it? So I've replied from my perspective that it depends on the client. If they don't have a WordPress site, then you might need to facilitate one being built for them, and that hosting would come along with that, whether it'd be hosted by you or with a company. Many companies are out there to host, some good, some evil. I built an LMS for a client, and I do the odd bit of light maintenance ad hoc, but I don't have a maintenance plan. So I'm guessing from my perspective, it depends how much maintenance there's going to be and all of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Kim. Great point. And no, it's a great question because ultimately therein lies the opportunity, as it were, for that ability to build upon your value proposition to your client. So it's not just about the solution that you build or what is launched and kind of brushing your hands and there you go. The best relationships or the best outcomes come from that continued relationship and almost kind of guiding the client to get the best value out of the product. Because a lot of times I've found, especially with kind of smaller clients or clients who I've effectively built a kind of e-learning component to their business and helping them get the most value out of that as a new means of a revenue stream, as it were. A lot of the times they don't have any interest or no, not so much interest, but have no real experience at all with regards to digital learning, what's good, what actually creates results, what's marketable, as it were, for clients who are selling or licensing, getting subscribers to their platforms, as it were. So that process, as it were, is something that is, can be turned into a consultative opportunity as well. So I like to think that within my business and the work that I do, even though, I love being a developer, and that's kind of how I always say that I am a anyone says what I do, I am a developer, but the consultancy is certainly just has to be there. I think, ultimately getting the best value from the project and getting the best return for yourself coming into your business is finding the ways in which you can ultimately add those propositions, those services, as it were, onto your overall proposition to the client as well. So I myself, just getting onto the hosting side, just to summarize there, from the hosting side of things, there's a real mix, as it were, because some clients or some organizations already have an established WordPress site, as well. Sorry, I'm banging my desk here, I'm getting passionate. Already have a WordPress site and may already have a hosting provision. Some literally have nothing. So it's a case of, would you feel comfortable? Like, ultimately the kind of philosophy, as it were, with the LearnDash approach as well, is trying to give the client that kind of full maintainership, like that full ownership of the solution as well. So, when you say like, oh, LearnDash is going to remove those restrictions for you, but at the same time, I'm going to slap a license fee on it for you to use. I don't really do that, or I've never come at it like that. I like to give the choice. It's kind of a case of, I can guide you, I can get something that's in effect going to be under your control and ownership. But if that's too much time, if that's basically not within the sort of remit and something that you want to take forward that's ultimately viable for you, then I will look at what might work better if we host it, if we provide that as a service, as it were, and work that out on a kind of licensing basis. So again, that shows the level of flexibility and the opportunities that you have as a freelancer, as a business owner, because you can in effect write the rules with regards to that.
Yeah. There's another benefit of, if you do offer them a maintenance plan and they take that up, when they need more content, they're more likely to come back to you. So we're
That's right.
chicken dinner on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's exactly the right questions to be asking, though. That 100%. How you can develop that business, how you can develop that relationship, and the returns that you can ultimately make, because that's ultimately how you create the growth, as it were, and give yourself a viable long term return that ultimately makes your decision in the first place to launch your business and to go into that freelancing opportunity, make it ultimately 100% rewarding for you as well. Okay, so hopefully you're now seeing FireMods up on your screen here. Is that coming through there, Kim, on your side? Cool. So this is firemods.co.uk. So once you have registered for your account, and you can register for free and get access to all of the free open source FireMods right away, as it were. Once you've signed in, the first step, ultimately, as you can see, you come to the screen where you go ahead and upload your published Rise course. So FireMods supports all of the main ways in which you can publish your interactive course out of Rise. So obviously the web format, as well as the SCORM and XAPI formats as well. Something that I've just recently added as well, that you'll see here, just right in the center there, is the what's new in FireMods screen. So that's relatively new, and that's just because FireMods is just going to be this ever evolving and ever growing product with new things that are going to be added all of the time. So I just obviously want to make that really visible to you as you log in, and obviously you can just go ahead and dismiss that. But this is kind of a bit of an announcement, actually, a bit of a L&D Free Spirits exclusive here for you, Kim, that the feature there right at the very top, giving learners the ability to print notes and reflection blocks to a PDF, is something literally just fresh out of the oven. I'm going to test it. It's literally on fire. Like it's actually on the live production site right now, and it has worked. It's done what I've wanted to when I've tested it, but now I'm in front of people live. It's like, well, let's give it a go, shall we? Let's see if put my money where my mouth is.
I love that feature because I've literally just storyboarded something to be built in Evolve, and I worked in the learner to be able to keep a reflective journal throughout the entire course and download it at the end. So this is absolutely perfect for the thing that I've just done.
Oh, fantastic. And that's the thing. The whole idea is to just make it embedded within the actual activity, within the content. So it's just kind of all encapsulated in the Rise activity that you've already created, as it were. So I'm going to go ahead and get my trusty Rise course here, my demo course here, and just drop that in and upload into the app. And then from the outset here, you can see that the FireMods app user interface gives you, in effect, a view, a live course preview of your course, exactly as it is in Articulate Rise. And you can see up in the top right-hand corner, we can switch between the different device views, as it were, in portrait mode, to just show the variation, as it were, of what some of the mods look like as you go into smaller screens, as it were. So let's jump in. And what you'll notice is that a lot of work had to be done to support all of the blocks that FireMods ultimately does support. But in the most recent version of FireMods, or now that Rise has these new features, the custom block and the custom code features that allow you to do some really interesting interactive stuff, through the process of vibe coding or kind of fleshing those out, as it were, that all of these can be kind of seen, and you can test what the mods ultimately do with all of these different types of blocks as well. So right off the bat, the note taker and highlighter feature was one of the most popular features of the initial Rise mod script, as it were. With that activated, the learner, the user, in effect, the end user of your Rise course, has the ability to highlight any area of the course which they may want to place a highlight over in order to pick up on that bit of text, what might be meaningful to them, as it were. And you can see that you can customize the colors if you so wish to do so, if you want to stay on brand with the way that looks, as it were. And it's very easy. This is obviously just me testing as an end user, as it were, but the end user, it's very easy for them to be able to add and remove highlights on the course itself, as well as, if they wish to do so, and they can do this on the sentence that they've just highlighted as well, they can add a note. So in effect, they can create a note for themselves. something that's either kind of reflective or just helps them to recall or to come back to parts of the course that were of keen interest, as it were. And now that note, in effect, is visually there. It's kind of in effect perpetually available or always there within the lesson. So in effect, switching away to another lesson page and then coming back, those items are always going to be in place, as it were, as highlighted. Next up, we have the text to speech block. So that just adds, how we can see that in the bottom right hand corner, an icon that the user can activate and deactivate. It's like a toggle switch, which when clicking on any block on the course will read that out using the browser's default text to speech node, as it were. So it's kind of different sounding depending on the device that you're using. Like I think Siri takes over on the iPhone, so it actually sounds pretty nice on there. But on Chrome, it's a little bit more, yeah, as it were. But I think those inbuilt features or those inbuilt accessibility features that browsers offer are going to be ever improving as the capabilities of the models get smaller. And we know that Google, for example, is going to be doing some kind of implementation of very small large language model features into Chrome in the very near future. So probably see the the fidelity of the voice, as it were, really improve as a result of that as well. So just a feature to very quickly add in that extra layer of accessibility to your courses.
Before we move on, Chris,
Hmm.
questions. First one from Darren.
Yeah.
Is there any room for branding and templating the PDF?
Oh, Darren, hello. Yes, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. The PDF, I'll say, is the newest feature, and we'll get to that as we take a look at it in action.
Smashing. And then Amy's asked, does the text-to-speech block work with articulate custom blocks?
Oh my goodness, shall we test it? If it doesn't, I'll see if it can. So this is a custom block right here.
We'll make an amendment, won't you?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So we need to activate, of course. Can't hear anything coming through my speaker.
My secret power is actually a practice.
Okay, it's not picking up the custom block, or at least not right now. So I'll say leave it with me.
This is why doing these sessions with actual developers is really useful when you've got a product like this, because it's like real life testing. Okay, going back on.
Was there any other questions, Kim?
No, just those two. Don't forget Darren's for the branding.
Of course, I'm not going to forget Darren. Oh, absolutely. Wouldn't dream of it. So we just got to scroll triggers. So scroll triggers is a really nice one. Actually, one of the features that I wanted to work into the very first kind of way that I use FireMods, as it were. So the idea is that you can use the scroll trigger feature to activate custom scripts at the moment where a specific part of the lesson page comes into view. So all we need to do here is choose the block by its ID. But what's really nice about having the app is that we can just do this using this toggle feature. So for example, I might go ahead and select this this roaring fire video right here. And then I can say what I want to happen as a result of that block coming into view. So if we just do a simple window.alert function, just to show this off and just say something like, toasty. And you can see that we have the ability to fire that script once. So in effect, it would only happen the first time that the script comes into view, or you can just turn that off. And now what we should hopefully see is if I scroll away and then come back or bring the video back into view, that script now fires. So I'm now seeing that window.alert. And if I go away and I come back, it's going to do it again. So I was using that as a means of triggering audio playback for some of the blocks that, in effect, I know that Rise has the audio kind of built in now, as it were, but at the time that didn't exist. And I wanted it to be kind of automatically triggered based on the positioning of the course. So this feature, in effect, allows you to do that level of scrolling actions, as it were, and you can fully customize that because it's 100% JavaScript, as it were. The cover page function, or the cover page mod, just allows you to customize some of the padding on the main page here. So whether you just want to reduce some of the spacing that kind of gets put onto between the start course and the menu list, as it were, that was just something that was bugging me, so I wanted to get that in there. The text on image block is one of the really nice visual features or visual blocks, as it were, in Articulate Rise. So this feature or this mod just allows you to take it just one step further, as it were. So you can see that, for example, you can add elements that just make the text a bit more visible against the image that you have there, whether you want to apply the glass effect or no, or whether you want the drop shadow, and also whether you want to, you see you've got this alternate float option. So if the text itself was within a block that's only, say, 50 or 60% of the overall block width, then using the alternate float would just create a nice sort of cascading flow of the text being on one side and the other, as maybe you've got multiple text on image blocks on your page, as it were. And notice as well, you can customize the heading font. That's just in a sense in Rise. If you've created the first text and then put a paragraph and then put some content, then FireMods will pick that up and will customize the heading font to whatever you tell it to do in this area here. Don't worry, I think it's just I was playing around with the fonts and I just put in Comic Sans as the last thing I was playing with. It's not the default, but you can basically go with any Google font or recognized font within your browser, and it will pick that up, as it were. The custom background feature, I think one of the generally well used and one of the most important features, as it were, of the customization capabilities of FireMods. In effect, what I can do here is I can select any background color that I want to apply across my course. And as well as that, I can also add grid lines as a pattern, which in effect just kind of helps with some the readability, as it were, of some of the text perhaps against your background. You can also apply a background image filter as well, so that just applies over the top of the color that you've selected, and that can be any image in effect, whether it's coming from Unsplash or from your web server, whatever the case may be. That just loads in as a full background image that just stays permanently in place at the back of your content in Rise. And notice as well that you've got this override light style only option here. So as you scroll, you'll notice that the whole, like the way that the block works is it kind of takes away the background of your block so that it can see the custom background that we have applied behind it. So that might not work in the context of blocks where you have, where you're not using the light style, where you've likely got a dark text color over the top of that block. So if that's the case, you can just activate this override light style only option, and then all of your blocks that use a theme, as it were, that's not the light style will just return back to their usual background, so that everything returns back to the way it was for those particular blocks. We've got a menu mod here, or menu button mod here, that applies that sort of Apple-like, what's it called, liquid glass kind of look, as it were. So it just adds a bit of extra sort of intrigue and style, and you can customize the hover effect, as it were, on the button as well, if you want that to kind of be nice and big when the mouse is hovered over the menu button there. This center button blocks feature, what you'll probably be familiar with if you've used Rise for a while, is that when you have button blocks, you've effectively got a kind of positioning where you've got the text space on the left-hand side and then a small sort of 25% area where the button sits on the right hand side. And if you are not using the text, then the button still just gets placed over in that right hand edge, which is rather frustrating. So the idea of the center button blocks mod is that it just removes all of that text spacing on the left hand side and puts your button nice and big and central in the screen. And then you can see you've also got this button height feature if you want to expand upon the padding within the button to make it nice and big and visible to the user that way as well. Then we have the button hover effects, and by default, when this was turned off, by the way, you see that like Rise at this moment doesn't really have much going on in terms of the hover situation for buttons for users. So this mod just introduces a few different styles and maybe adds some more over time to this. So we've got the grow, and we've got also shake and none, which just changes the color. So you can select the hover fill color and the hover font color here. And then as you can see, that just applies the effect to every button, including continue button blocks like this one down here. Will also have that apply to it, and then you can customize the color if you so wish to do so. If it better fits with a particular brand to go down a particular route, as it were, you can see you can do that as well. And if we just choose none as the hover effect, then it'll just be the color that gets applied when the user hovers over any of those buttons on your course. And then lastly, continue buttons here, or rather lastly within the FreeMod section is the continue buttons customization. I always found it really interesting that for whatever reason, the continue button block was the only one that Rise seemingly, or Articulate seemingly, only applied a rounded corner shape to. So I was just a bit annoyed that there wasn't the consistency, as it were, going on there, unless I've missed a very critical feature and I've got that completely wrong, but I couldn't find it. So I just went ahead and created this mod in order to set up continue blocks to look exactly the same as any other button that's in Rise as well, by giving it the rounded rectangle, sorry, the rounded corner border radius, as it were.
Chris, before we move
Yes.
on. Okay, so Darren says, can you publish for web instead of LMS and still have the same functionality for tracking things like reflections, etc., in the case of not using SCORM?
Okay, the answer to that is yes. So in effect, the output, when we go to click the download my course button here, will in effect just render out your zip file as it was uploaded into FireMods, but just with the FireMods files added into it. So it's just the same content plus the FireMods stuff added on top.
Okay, and my question was, it's great that you can make your continue button rounded corners, but what if I've had a client before who was like, our rounded corners must be 10 points. You know, so
Yeah.
is there a way that we could customize the roundness of the pill buttons? Because when you made the other one fatter, it reduced the roundness on the corners because it was stretching out. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I'm really glad I've actually got that feature right here. So under the continue buttons, when you turn on the master switch there, and that adds the styling to the button, you can just customize the border radius element right here. And as I say, this is great for me. If there was anything else, as it were, like styling of other blocks that maybe annoy other people, email me, let me know, and we'll see if we can get it added into FireMods, because I'm obviously keen to, you know, I've picked the things that mean something to me or have annoyed me about Rise, and I bet there's a heck of a lot more out there, a lot more stories that people want to share and say, fix that for me, and I'll see what I can do.
So this 20px thing on the continue button, can we then do that on the other buttons?
No, sorry. So this is just for the continue button block. So it's applying the style, or rather it's applying the customization just to that specific block to get it in line with everything else. So if there was any other styling, maybe what I would do is combine the mod together with other blocks. If I was going to create like a multi styling kind of modification for Rise, as it were, that's a possibility.
Okay, thank you. 5 minutes left.
We've got 5 minutes. Okay, well, let me go ahead and show you the new reflection system then, and then we'll pause there, and obviously everything else you can just explore at your own leisure, as it were, in Rise. So the reflection block is in effect a custom reflection block system that has been built specifically or built tailored to the FireMods app, as it were. So the reflection block, in effect, is just a custom block that the app can add into your course for you. So you see, with the mod turned on, I can say, right, I want to add a reflection block, and then I can select a space between any of my existing blocks in my lesson page where I want that reflection block to go. And as you can see over on the left-hand side, I have the customization to rename the title, the instruction of the block. I might go ahead and click the center align button here so that everything nicely center aligns in the block there. And then it's a case of, this is where the user would be able to write their answer to that specific question or that specific reflection point and save that to the activity, as it were. So now that that's in there, we can now use it in one of two new ways. So the first one is to just display the reflection itself, or rather display what the user input into that particular block. So with this mod turned on, I can choose, or if I had multiple reflection blocks, I would see all of the different reflection blocks that I've created in this list. So I choose the reflection block that I've just created, and now I can, in effect, inject the input, or rather inject the answer that the user gave to that reflection block into the course. And you can see, again, I can customize this. It shows the reflection block title. If you'd rather just show what the user has typed, you can just hide the title there, and obviously style the resulting block in a way that looks best for your course like that. So I'm showing, in effect, remember when you said this? Now what do you think? You know what I mean? So you got that opportunity to go back and revisit those reflections through this process as well. And then we come to our PDF generation system. So what I should hopefully be able to do here is turn this on, and then I can choose exactly where I want to add my PDF generation button into my course. So I'm just going ahead and popping it at the bottom here. And then you can see that, again, I have a number of customizations in terms of what the button text says, the document title, and the introduction text that's shown in the header section of the document. Oops, and the footer section, if you want to customize that. You can upload a logo. So I might just go ahead and pick something from, if I've got something in my downloads here. Okay, that'll do. And then button color, and obviously if I want to make the button nice and big, we can do that as well, make it nice and visible. And then right here, you can see what you decide what goes into the PDF. So we have our highlighter and note system that you saw right at the very start there. So if you want to include the notes that the user took throughout the course when they were highlighting text, you can do that or turn that off. And then you can choose the specific reflection blocks that you want what the user typed to go into the PDF. So I'll just go ahead and select everything. And now I can go ahead and test this in the live course preview. If I click the button, you'll see that I get my PDF downloaded to my system here. And here is the result. So you can see I've got the branding, the title of the document, when it was created, the header section that was customized by me in FireMods, and there's the footer section down there. And then the content is broken up. So I've got my reflection answers, so it shows the reflection title and what the user typed for that reflection block. And then underneath that are the saved notes. And what's really nice about this, or the way that I've laid this out, is that I've set it out so that the user can see what they highlighted and also what they wrote in the notes. So if we go back to the course, for example, we can see I had highlighted here when we show up to the present moment. So that clearly shows what I had highlighted in the course and then what I wrote as my note against that particular item. So there we go. So I now, as the learner, as the user, have this takeaway from this Rise course, and that's available right now as a new custom feature, and I'm keen to get your feedback on it and keep on improving it. As I say, that's there in FireMods today. And yeah, I think we've run out of time, but there's plenty more I wish I could cover, but maybe you'll find out more if you follow me on LinkedIn, on YouTube, etc. So let me go ahead and get my my kind of contact card up here, and we'll pass back to Kim to wrap things up. So there we go. So thank you very much, everybody, for being here. Thank you very much for joining me for my talk today with L&D Free Spirits. It's been really great.
Thank you so much, Chris. So yeah, I think what you've built with FireMods is absolutely game-changing for us Rise, because yes, there are other ways that you can do things, but I cannot code. I'm not even going to start looking at CSS files and start fiddling with things. So it's perfect for somebody like me. Thank you so much. Getting some love in the chat. Amazing and fantastic. I've dropped your LinkedIn into the chat, so please make sure that you give Chris a follow on LinkedIn and YouTube. And if you think of anything that you want, literally sky's the limit, send it through to Chris, because it all helps to create this fantastic, amazing tool. So thank you so much, Chris, and thank you to everybody joining us today.